The Babadook book isn't a children's story, it's a grimoire, a spellbook that summons a demon made of grief, depression, and repressed rage, and once you read it, you can't get rid of it. The book was handmade by a single artist, only 6 copies exist, and it follows the exact structure of medieval demon summoning manuals: warning, invocation, prophecy, possession, and finally, the contract. Jennifer Kent didn't just create a horror movie, she created a functional grimoire disguised as a pop-up book. And today we're breaking down every occult layer hidden inside the most terrifying bedtime story ever written. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and stay up to date with all my occult cinema breakdowns. The mysterious appearance. The book appears on Amelia's shelf with no explanation. She doesn't remember buying it. There's no author listed, no publisher, no ISBN number, just a plain red cover with the title embossed in black, Mr. Babadook. Samuel finds it and begs his mother to read it for bedtime. She's exhausted, barely holding it together, but she agrees. And the moment she opens that book, everything changes. The pages are black, the text is white, the illustrations are disturbing, scratchy, violent, something is definitely wrong. This isn't a children's book, but she keeps reading anyway. In occult tradition, grimoires don't find their way to you by accident. They appear when you're ready, or more accurately, when you're vulnerable, when your defenses are down, when you're desperate enough to let something in. Amelia has been repressing her grief for 7 years. Her husband died in a car accident on the way to the hospital to deliver Samuel. She's never processed it, never talked about it. She locked all of his belongings in the basement and pretended the pain didn't exist, but grief doesn't disappear. It festers. It grows. And eventually it takes form. The Babadook book didn't appear randomly. Amelia's unconscious mind manifested it. Her repressed emotions needed a vessel, a shape, a name, and the book provided all 3. You don't always create things like this consciously. Sometimes your desperation, your fear, your unresolved trauma does it for you. The thought form builds itself in the shadows of your psyche, and then one day, it steps into the light. The book is that moment. The moment the entity announces itself. The handmade grimoire. Here's something most people don't know. The Babadook book was created by a single illustrator named Alex Juhasz. It took him months to craft. Every pop-up mechanism was hand-engineered. Every illustration was hand-drawn in that scratchy, unsettling style that looks like it came from a Victorian nightmare. Only 6 copies were made for filming. After the movie came out, fans went insane trying to get their hands on replicas. Jennifer Kent eventually authorized a limited run for charity, and they sold out in hours. People were paying thousands of dollars on eBay for bootleg versions. Why? Because the book feels real. It feels old, dangerous, like something you shouldn't touch. In occult practice, handmade objects carry more power than mass-produced ones. A sigil you draw yourself is stronger than one you print from the internet. A talisman you craft with intention is more potent than something bought on Amazon. The Babadook book's power comes from its creation. It was made with care, with artistry, with intention. Alex Juhasz didn't just illustrate a prop. He created a functional piece of dark art, and the aesthetic matters. The red cover symbolizes blood, passion, and danger. The black pages symbolize the void, death, and the unconscious. The white text, purity inverted and corrupted innocence. This is the color scheme of alchemy. Negredo, albedo, rubedo. Blackening, whitening, reddening. The 3 stages of transformation: death, purification, and rebirth. The Babadook book is an alchemical text. It's designed to transform the reader, to break them down, purify them through suffering, and rebuild them into something that can survive their own darkness. Amelia doesn't know this when she opens it, but her unconscious does. That's why the book appeared. That's why Samuel chose it. The process had already begun. The text as an invocation. Let's talk about what the book actually says, because every line is a spell. If it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. This is the warning. The first rule of summoning. Once you perceive the entity, it's real. Observation creates reality. This isn't just occult philosophy, it's quantum physics. The act of looking changes what you're looking at. In Kabbalah, speaking God's true name has power. In demonology, speaking a demon's name summons it. The Babadook's name is a verbal sigil, and Amelia just spoke it aloud. The book continues. A rumbling sound, then 3 sharp knocks. 3 knocks appear in folklore across the world. The devil and death both knock 3 times. It's a mockery of the Holy Trinity. It's the announcement that something unholy is at the door, and then the name itself. It's rhythmic, hypnotic. It sounds like a heartbeat, like a chant, like something you'd repeat in a trance state to open a doorway. The book is teaching Amelia how to summon the entity, and she's following the instructions without realizing it. See him in your room at night and you won't sleep a wink. I'll soon take off my funny disguise, and once you see what's underneath, you're going to wish you were dead. This is the revelation. The entity has been hiding, wearing a mask, but now it's going to show its true form, and the true form is unbearable. This is the shadow, the part of yourself you've repressed, denied, hidden away. The Babadook's funny disguise is the polite face Amelia shows the world, the struggling but loving mother. Underneath is rage, resentment, the wish that her son had never been born. That's the truth she can't face. That's what's underneath. And the book is forcing her to look. The prophecy pages. Amelia tears up the book, rips it to pieces, throws it in the trash. The next morning, it's on her doorstep, intact, wrapped in brown paper like a gift. She opens it. The torn pages are taped back together, and there are new pages, pages that weren't there before. These pages show the future. Amelia strangling Samuel. Amelia with a knife. Amelia hanging from the ceiling. The illustrations are more violent, more explicit. The book is no longer warning her. It's showing her what's going to happen, and it's not trying to stop her. It's encouraging her, because the entity doesn't want to be banished. It wants to be fed. Violence, rage, and destruction. These are the richest meals. Amelia tries to burn the book. She throws it in the fireplace. But you can't burn a grimoire. Not a real one. The knowledge is already inside you. Destroying the physical object doesn't destroy the spell. The book returns. Always. I'll wager with you I'll make you a bet. The more you deny, the stronger I get. This is the core occult principle of shadow work. What you resist, persists. What you deny, grows. The only way to weaken the entity is to acknowledge it. But Amelia isn't ready for that yet, so the Babadook gets stronger. The true story, Babaroga. Jennifer Kent didn't invent the Babadook out of nowhere. She pulled from real mythology, real fear. The inspiration came from a friend of hers. This friend had a young son who was convinced a monster lived in their house. Not a metaphorical monster, a real one. He could see it, hear it, he was terrified. The mother, trying to calm him, started talking to the invisible monster. "Excuse me, monster, could you please not bother my son tonight? He needs to sleep." And it worked. The child calmed down. But the mother realized something disturbing. By acknowledging the monster, she'd made it real. Not just for her son, for herself. That's the seed of the Babadook. The idea that some things become real when you speak to them. Kent wanted a name that sounded like a boogeyman. She asked a Serbian writer, "What's the Serbian word for boogeyman?" The answer, Babaroga. Babaroga is an old woman with horns. She lives in dark places, attics, basements, caves. She reaches through cracks in the ceiling and pulls children up into the darkness. She puts them in a sack and eats them. Every culture has a version of this. The child stealer, the thing that comes at night. It's a primal fear encoded in the collective unconscious. Kent changed Babaroga to Babadook because it sounded right. Harsher, more guttural. And when she looked up the Hebrew translation later, she found something chilling. He is coming for sure. Not, he might come. Not, he could come. He is coming. It's inevitable. Prophecy, not possibility. The Babadook isn't a monster you can avoid. It's a monster you're destined to meet. Lon Chaney, the face of fear. The Babadook's design, tall top hat, hulking coat, pale face, wild hair, comes from a very specific source. Lon Chaney, the silent film actor from the 1920s. The man of 1,000 faces. Chaney played the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was a master of transformation, using makeup and prosthetics to become monsters. And in 1927, he starred in a film called London After Midnight. He played a vampire, or maybe a hypnotist pretending to be a vampire. The plot is unclear because the film is lost. Every copy was destroyed in a fire. All that remains are a few still photographs, and in those photographs, Chaney looks exactly like the Babadook. The hat, the coat, the sharp teeth, the wild eyes. Jennifer Kent used those images as direct inspiration. She wanted the Babadook to feel like something from the early days of cinema, when film itself was new and strange and a little bit magical. Silent films had a different kind of power. Without dialogue, actors had to communicate through exaggerated movement, through presence, through atmosphere. Chaney's performances were almost supernatural. People said he could transform himself into anything. The Babadook channels that energy. He's a creature from the age of silent horror, a ghost from cinema's past haunting the present. And the fact that London After Midnight is lost adds to the mystique. It's a film that exists only in fragments, in memory, in legend. Just like the Babadook exists in the space between reality and imagination. The lost film, the forgotten monster, the thing that used to scare people before we had words for it, that's what the Babadook is. Grief is a demon. So what is the Babadook really? It's grief. Amelia's husband died 7 years ago in a car accident on the way to the hospital. She was in labor with Samuel. Her husband never got to meet his son, and Samuel never got to meet his father. Amelia has spent 7 years not dealing with this. She locked all of her husband's belongings in the basement. She refuses to talk about him. She won't celebrate Samuel's birthday because it's the same day her husband died. She's buried the grief, repressed it, pretended it doesn't exist, but grief doesn't disappear. It transforms, it curdles, it becomes something else. The part of yourself you reject, deny, hide. The shadow doesn't go away, it grows in the dark, and eventually it demands to be seen. In occult terms, this is how demons are born. Not from hell, from you. From the parts of yourself you refuse to integrate. The Babadook is Amelia's grief given form, her rage, her resentment. The part of her that blames Samuel for her husband's death. The part of her that wishes Samuel had never been born. She can't say that out loud. She can barely think it. But the Babadook can. I'll wager with you I'll make you a bet. The more you deny, the stronger I get. This is the truth of shadow work. You can't kill your darkness. You can only acknowledge it. And if you don't, it will consume you. The Babadook feeds on denial. Every time Amelia pushes the grief down, the entity grows. Every time she pretends she's fine, it gets stronger. Until finally, it's strong enough to possess her. The possession. The Babadook enters Amelia through her mouth. Black smoke, choking, gagging, and then it's inside her. Her eyes go dead. Her voice changes. She becomes cold, violent, monstrous. She kills the dog. She chases Samuel through the house with a knife. She's not Amelia anymore. She's the thing she's been running from. This is what possession looks like. Not in the Hollywood sense, spinning heads and pea soup. In the psychological sense, when the repressed part of you takes over, when the shadow becomes the driver. In demonology, possession happens through open doors. Trauma, addiction, obsession, unresolved pain. These are the cracks the entity slips through. Amelia's open door is grief. 7 years of unprocessed grief, and the Babadook walked right through it. But here's the thing. Samuel doesn't give up on her. He fights back. Not with violence. With love. I know you don't love me, but I love you, Mum. That's the moment. The crack in the possession, the reminder of who she really is. Amelia vomits. Black liquid. Thick and foul. The entity is being expelled. Not destroyed. Just removed. Pushed back. In exorcism rituals, this is the climax. The moment the demon is forced out of the body. But exorcisms don't kill demons. They just send them back to wherever they came from. The Babadook isn't gone, it's just not inside her anymore. And that's when Amelia realizes something. She can't kill it, but she can control it. The basement ritual. Time passes, weeks, maybe months. Amelia and Samuel are healing. They're celebrating Samuel's birthday, something Amelia could never do before. They're laughing. They're okay. But then Amelia goes to the garden. She digs up worms from the dog's grave. She puts them in a bowl, and she takes them down to the basement, where her husband's belongings are stored, where the grief lives. She opens the door. The Babadook is there, crouched in the shadows, hissing, growling. It lunges at her, but Amelia doesn't run. She stands firm. Don't you dare touch my son. The Babadook stops, retreats. It's still dangerous, still monstrous, but it's listening. Amelia sets down the bowl of worms. The Babadook takes it and drags it into the darkness. This is the ritual, the offering. In occult practice, offerings to spirits are ancient. Food, drink, incense, these are given to appease entities, to keep them satisfied, to maintain balance. Worms are the food of the dead. They consume corpses. They're associated with decay, with graves and the underworld. Amelia is feeding the Babadook death. She's using the worms from the dog's grave, another loss, another grief, to sustain the entity. This is shadow work. You don't kill the darkness. You feed it. You give it a space. You acknowledge it. You visit it regularly. The basement is the unconscious, the place where the repressed things live. Amelia used to avoid it. Now she goes there willingly. She faces the Babadook. She doesn't let it control her, but she doesn't pretend it doesn't exist. This is integration. This is healing. The Babadook is still there. It always will be. But it's contained, managed, small, as long as she keeps feeding it. Why you can't get rid of it. The physical Babadook book, the one you can buy, the replica, has pages that weren't fully shown in the film. The final pages. The contract. You cannot get rid of me. Dare to look me in the face. Try to put me in my place. I will cause you so much strife. You are trespassing in my house, but you might just get out with your life. Read that again. You are trespassing in my house. The Babadook doesn't live in Amelia's house. Amelia lives in the Babadook's house. The entity owns the psyche, not her. Whether adult or child, best to give me a home, put the welcome mat out with a room of my own, and accept that I'm here and from you I have grown. This is the truth. The Babadook didn't invade from outside. It grew from inside. From Amelia's grief, her rage, her repressed pain, she created it, and now she has to live with it. The entity might stay quiet, or it might not. But if you feed it, if you acknowledge it, if you give it space, it won't destroy you. You can't get rid of your grief. You can't get rid of your depression. You can't get rid of your shadow. But you can give it a room in the basement. You can feed it worms. You can visit it regularly, stand firm, and remind it, don't touch my son. You can learn to live with the darkness without letting it consume you. That's not defeat. That's survival. That's mastery. The Babadook book is a grimoire, not metaphorically, literally. It appears mysteriously. It contains invocation instructions. It predicts the future. It cannot be destroyed. And it teaches you how to live with the entity you've summoned. Jennifer Kent created one of the most psychologically accurate depictions of grief in horror cinema. But she also created something deeper, a modern myth about the shadow, the part of yourself you can't kill, only feed. The book's final message is the truth of shadow work. Give me a home, accept that I'm here, keep me smaller in size. You can't get rid of the Babadook. You can't get rid of your grief. You can't get rid of your darkness. That's the occult wisdom hidden in a pop-up book. Subscribe to Occult Cinema for more hidden symbolism in the films you thought you knew. And remember, if it's in a word or it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook.